Adobe announced not one, but two new versions of Lightroom. So let's go over what the differences between those two versions are and how your experience is going to change from the Lightroom that you've been using up until now. If you're using Lightroom CC, that means you have an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription, and the most natural upgrade path for you is to choose Lightroom Classic CC. Lightroom CC becomes Lightroom Classic CC, and it adds a way better performance, especially when importing pictures, but general performance improvements of maybe 15%. It adds really cool color and luminance masking to the adjustment brushes. We'll have a separate video that shows you how to do that. It's a desktop only software, so it will run on your Windows or your Mac PC, but it will not run on mobile operating systems like iOS or Android. You can still sync pictures to the Creative Cloud like you have been, but it is a different app with a different user interface. It is subscription only now, whereas before you could choose to pay outright for Lightroom 6 or Lightroom 5. Now you have to sign up for the Creative Cloud subscription, or you simply can't get the latest version of the software. We, of course, have a book on it. It's available right now. Visit sdp.io/classic to get the ebook immediately and the paperback when it's ready to ship, which should be really soon. If you are currently using Lightroom 6, it is end of line. Adobe is not offering what they call persistent licenses anymore. You can't simply buy software. You have to sign up for the Creative Cloud and pay monthly or annually. You can get that subscription at sdp.io/Adobe deal. It's not that much, and it's what I've recommended for a long time because it's clear that Adobe has been pushing people into this subscription model. Now you don't have a choice. If you've been using Lightroom 6, your new camera won't be supported because Adobe isn't even going to be releasing new Camera Raw updates for it. Don't shoot the messenger, all right? I'm just telling you how it's working. If you like Lightroom Mobile on your tablet or your smartphone and you want that on your desktop, you can get it with what's called Lightroom CC. Here's where it gets confusing because Lightroom CC was the name of the previous generation of Lightroom for Creative Cloud. That is now called Lightroom Classic CC. It's just like when Coke updated Coke, but they just called it Coke, but it was new Coke and nobody liked it anymore. This is the new Lightroom CC. And the old Lightroom CC is now called Lightroom Classic CC, just like Coke Classic. That'll resonate with all the Americans. We also have a book on Lightroom CC, which is the new version of Lightroom Mobile, at our store there. This version, what they call Lightroom CC, is everything in the cloud. If you import pictures on your computer, it will sync them out to the Creative Cloud. Eventually, whenever you have an internet connection, it will store them locally, but then when it has a connection, it will also sync them out. If you import them on your phone or you take them on your phone, guess what? It all goes into the cloud. This way, whether you pick up an iPad or your iPhone or you sit down at a laptop or a desktop, wherever you are, whatever device you're using, you have access to all of your pictures and all of your edits. The full versions of your files go into the Creative Cloud, your whole raw file. That means, yeah, it could use a lot of bandwidth. You want to be connected to Wi-Fi. They give you that sort of management option in the mobile devices. I know this isn't going to be the solution for everybody. Many of you are accustomed to the workflow where you use SD cards and you import them into your computer and you store them on your local hard drives and you want to keep doing that. No worries. Just use Lightroom Classic CC. But if you're like us and you're constantly on the go and you are constantly, using a desktop whenever you can for that nice keyboard, mouse, big screen workflow, or if you're on an airplane or traveling or just sitting on the couch, you might want to use a mobile device. This is kind of perfect. It's not 100% there yet. We've been working with the beta for quite a long time, and I think they need some more time before I really push the bulk of my audience to it, but that's what this is. Lightroom CC, the new Lightroom CC, lacks some features that you're accustomed to in the old Lightroom CC. For example, there's not currently any photo merge tools. So there's no HDR, no built-in panoramas. You can't even do side-by-side comparisons that I can tell. There's no proper import or export dialog, so you can add pictures to it, but as near as I can tell, there's no way to actually pull them off of memory cards because I think it's coming. There's no printing, really. So if you wanted to print an image, you'd have to open it up in Photoshop, which is also included in your Lightroom CC subscription. Of course, the maps module is completely gone, as well as the facial recognition and even your history in the develop module. You can undo things, but you can't currently view the history. And of course, the terrible modules like the slideshow and web module are gone too. What Adobe has done is started from the ground up and built a whole new version of Lightroom that's free of all the legacy performance problems, something that's designed for the next generation of photographers. It's basically exactly what I recommended that they do, and I'm glad that they did it. But they're basically writing a whole new app, and that takes some time, and I think they're still working on it. From talking to Adobe, it sounds like their intention is to bring over all the features that you love from the old Lightroom CC and put them in the new Lightroom CC. It's going to take some time. And in its current state, Lightroom CC is useful to some people. So that's why they've made it available, and you can jump into it whenever you're ready, but you don't have to. You can keep using the old style Lightroom with Lightroom Classic CC. Let's just jump over into Lightroom Classic CC, and you'll see the user interface that you're kind of familiar with. You have all the different modules up here that you can choose from. You guys already know this. Let's jump over into the new Lightroom CC, and you can see the grid view here is a little fancier. Things fit together a little nicer. You have the option of going to a more standard grid if you want to. And of course, there is a loop view where you can zoom in at 100% on things. You can also, there's no longer any need to jump between the library and develop modules. So now all your controls are built right here. They just pop right out, and you can go ahead and just edit it without the need to change modules. That was something else that I asked for. It works fantastic. You can see they now have auto lighting, which just does a great job. It works way better than it did in the previous version. Most of the same development tools that you're used to are here still. But there are some notable exceptions, as I mentioned earlier. So you can do sharpening. You can still remove chromatic aberration, and you can enable lens corrections just by selecting your lens here. So it's good, but it's not completely the same. You can switch between other panels over here to do things like cropping, which this picture desperately needs. You still have a healing brush. So you could take out little things like this. Pretty good. You can use adjustment brushes to make selective edits, but here again, they're limited a little bit. You have gradient filters, radial filters, and you can copy settings and paste them to other devices. You can show a histogram. It's weird that it's not enabled by default. And you do still have access to presets, so you have to manually import them when you go to use them. Lightroom CC is pretty good, and you should definitely play around with it. But for me, I'm not quite getting comfortable with it yet. It's still missing too many things for me to really make that move. Let me just show you what happens when you go to export stuff, file save to, and this is your new export dialog. And the only options they really give you here are the file sizes. So you don't get all the options around stripping out the metadata or saving it to a different folder. It's just not quite as customizable. Thus, at the current state, it's better suited to more beginning photographers and enthusiasts than the professionals who might need those extra tools. But nonetheless, it'll do most of what most people need. You have to sign up for Creative Cloud or you won't get the latest features, and you will not be able to use raw files from the newest cameras. Visit stp.io/Adobe deal to sign up for that. I'm Tony Northrup. Thanks for watching.